I would like to talk about Pesach preparation in our home in Zmigrod. The actually preparation started in Hanukkah time. Hanukkah people used to buy geese and fatten them up and take out the fat and cook them over and put away in pots for Pesach.
Put away the fat, you mean?
The fat, yeah. And the grieben, we used to have the grieben is the skin from the goose, but because they boil over, the fat should go out from the skin. And this was the most delicious food, those grieben. My mother used to make a meal from it. So it wasn't like in here you go and buy Pesach, you buy oil. You had to prepare by yourself everything. And then we actually, my mother, they earned money before Pesach. Pesach was the biggest expense. Just to buy matzahs was a huge expense, because the Kehillah used to put, they used to buy the flour and they used to make money on the flour, on the kosher Yontif flour. So it was quite expensive. The flour that they baked the matzahs was more than double than the regular flour. So we had a big oven, so for Pesach they used to kasher the oven. The way they do it, they burn a lot of wood and until the bricks should get red. Then it's kosher for Pesach. But in order to should be approved, the rabbi used to come. Usually was done Saturday, Motzi Shabbos, and he came and he put the, I don't know how it's called. Is it? It's something that you clean out the cloth from the oven, and it's made from wood. And when you touch, it should be sparks from this. Then it was kosher Pesach. The
rabbi would come and check.
Yes, give the hechsher for that, because we baked matzahs for other people and to sell. And after Purim, our living room, bedroom, it was everything in one room. We used to empty everything and put tables like in start to bake matzahs. We usually.
So you were baking already right after Purim, baking matzahs.
Yeah, a week after. It was like a week or more. You start after Purim, but you had to hire a specialist, like the one, it was called a shiva, the one who was able to put the matzahs in the oven, because you have to know how to do it. You put it on a stick from a broom, like a long stick. You put the matzah, and you have to turn over very fast. So we used to hire people to knead the flours and then to
roll
this, and then you had to make the matzah. Every matzah had to go over with wheel, which has like from watches, it had little teeth, and it is not to go.
This is to make holes in the matzah.
If not, the matzah would be like hole in the middle. So
the matzah would get puffed up if you don't have the holes.
Yeah, so it was quite a underneming, because
undertaking.
You had to take girls to roll in a woman to knead the matches, and of course the whole house was busy. I used to help scrape the rollers from the door. We have to scrape every time with shatters of glass you made. The work wasn't 8 hours, was like 12 hours. And besides, at night you had to bring water. It's called Maim Shelanu, because to know the water shouldn't be too warm, you have to prepare water which you take out when it's already the evening.
You draw the water in the evening and you leave it all night.
We went from a pump, but you have to keep it. This is the only water which was good for the matzahs.
Mm-hmm.
You tell this to here, they wouldn't believe it. It would take in to bake matzahs, and it was very hard job. But at night we have to put back the beds and everything every day to make the room empty.
How many days would you be baking matzahs for?
Sometimes 10, depends how much we sell and how much we used to sell, and people used to bring their own flours, and they paid, I don't remember how much per pound to bake the matzahs. There were two kinds.
In other words, either people would buy the matzahs straight from you, in which case you charge them for the flour and everything, or they would bring their own flour and say, make matzahs for it, and then they would only pay for the labor.
For the labor. As a rule, shmura matzahs used to be baked the first thing in the morning. But in shmura matzahs usually was prepared. You had to buy the flour. The one who sold the house, their flour was Menashe Haskell. I still remember him. He had the longest beard in our town, and they used to prepare themselves the grain, because the grain you have to take out straight when you cut it and put it away. Shouldn't be on the field to get wet, because it wasn't like here. They didn't have the combines that they go and thresh the ass. They used to cut the grain with the straw, and they used to keep it bundles and on the field. It should dry, and then it was like on the field maybe a week or more, until they took it in and threshed the straw should come on flowers. But Shmura, you had to take the grain with the straw and keep it. I used to keep it in the attic and get out the grain. It should be 100% sure that it don't get wet. So
whose attic was it kept in? Your attic?
Or? No. I mean those. My
people who
cousin,
sold the matzahs.
But I had a cousin.
People who sold the flour would keep it in their attic.
The men, but my cousin, he used to Moshe Reitz. He was married actually to my cousin. And he used to prepare by himself the grain. He used to do it like I said. Take the grain and keep it on the attic to get dry, and then thresh out.
That was for his own use?
Yeah, for his own. This was, but then after we baked the matzahs, then we started to clean the house. Cleaning the house for Pesach was not like here. We used to, most of the time they used to paint. So they emptied all the closet, which we didn't have like here so much stuff, and we used to put on boards on the on our backyard, in all the Svarim, we used to put, they should air out. Outside, you had to be.
So you would put boards outside behind the house, and you would take all of the svarim from the house and put them out on the boards to let them air out.
Yeah, I don't know why.
That sounds more like spring cleaning than Pesach cleaning.
Maybe they were afraid it shouldn't be some this material. Yeah, it was spring cleaning.
How many svarim did you have in the house?
Not like here. We had Chemushim and Nach. And what else? We had when I started to learn Gemur, I had to buy every time a new Masech. So this used to be done in so they used to empty all the we had only one room with the dining room and this and they used to clean up at the same time, pour hot water on the beds, on the wooden bed, to get rid of the what's called
bed bugs.
Because
so you would take you had straw mattresses,
in every
and then you would take the mattress off and you would pour boiling water on.
We didn't have the mattresses before Pesach. They used to throw out the old straw and fill up the sacks with new fresh straw. This was done before Pesach. Before Pesach.
So where were you pouring the boiling water?
On the boards of the beds.
The bed boards. Because the bed bugs would hide inside the crevices.
Yes.
And boiling water would kill them.
Yeah. It was quite. I liked it because I don't know, to have everything outside was a kid was like
exciting.
A little exciting for me. Then this was done every year for the room, and sometimes they used to paint.
What kind of paint would they use?
We had only, we didn't have like oil paint. We had what is called lime.
So it was whitewash, really?
Yeah, they put in some colors, whitewash. To prepare, you had to buy the stone, and put it in pour water, and this got melted, to prepare the lime.
The stone was a limestone?
Yeah, it was special. They used to sell it. It was like a stone. But you had to prepare by yourself with water. It used to boil when you put water, and this used to boil out, and then it was made like soft. And this how they used to whitewash. That was Meyer Rottenberg. He was the only one who used to sell the rocks, the limestone. So this was done on every Pesach. And then after this, it came to the kitchen. The kitchen, this was the kitchen. They did it very close, like a day before Pesach. And
the oven where you were baking the matzahs was not in the kitchen, it was in the other room?
It was in the kitchen.
So you were baking the matzahs in the kitchen before you had it cleaned for Pesach?
Yes, because it was a big oven before this. We used to bake. Then when we started all the dishes and this to clean, and we used to do a lot of gula and
Hagala to put the dishes in the hot water to.
Not all of them we had, but a few things we had to. So we didn't have a sink. So I digged on the backyard a little hole in boiled water, take stones and should get under the fire until they get the stones red, and put the dishes in the water with the stones. Those used to be when you put.
What were you digging in the back? You dug a hole in the backyard
to pour in the water and to be able to make the
so
haggalah.
you were doing the kashering in a hole in the ground?
Yes.
It wouldn't get like full of mud and things?
No, it was done fast. Wasn't clear water like here, but it was the ikka was that the water should boil, and you put it in. You put in the stones, the water started to boil.
So you would boil the water in the house, carry it out to the backyard, put it into this pit that you had dug, put in the hot stones, and then the water would boil, and then you could kasher the things in that pit.
This was the only way to do it. Then the kitchen was done, and it was a different story, the kitchen, than the other room, because this they had to do very short before Pesach. We didn't have refrigeration, we had to eat. Then when it came in Erev Pesach, after they finished the humming, then they changed everything. This was the biggest job, to put away. We didn't have a quarter of the pots and dishes that we had here, but it was very hard to change over. As kids, we looked for only Erev Pesach. My mother used to buy rolls, fresh rolls, and this was for us the biggest treat I could eat. How many I wanted. American kids wouldn't understand that fresh rolls was something, a luxury. I used to go to school with peasant boys, and in the school, in the big intermission,
during recess, or lunch break.
The biggest, we had one lunch break like 50 minutes. Otherwise, it was like 5 minutes between lessons. And then one of the classes used to go out with rolls and sold for 5 groschen a roll. So a peasant boy used to keep one hand. He used to take every day the black bread that they used to bake at home from full grain, not whole wheat, but what it's called, how do they call here, the black
rye?
Rye, yeah, that's the used to rye, but it wasn't like here a big thing. Rye, the peasant used to eat this.
So he had black rye bread
in one hand, and in the other he used to, and he had the 5 groschen, eat with the other hand the black with the white,
Because he would buy for 5 groschen a white roll, and he would stretch it out
to eat together. One hand he had this, and one hand like you eat. Let's see. Give an example. Lax, or you eat. What it's called? Naknik.
A hot dog.
Anything. So this was for him. Otherwise, he used to eat just bread.
Just straight bread. Just straight black bread.
This how important was rolls. When I remember as a kid, when you were rich, you ate a breakfast, a roll with butter and with an egg. This was the luxury. In drink after this, cacao, cocoa milk,
Hot cocoa.
Hot cocoa. This everybody dreamed about a breakfast. So Pesach, we were the only time that we ate, apparently, in order not to make crumbs. This was fresh, so they liquidated all the bread before, but for breakfast we ate. And then from breakfast until the 3 or 4, until they cleaned up, we didn't eat anything. But when the first thing that they cooked a lot of potatoes with borscht, and this was the tastiest thing to eat, the fresh potatoes with borscht. And some of the potatoes they used to put the fat schmaltz that they prepared. And then when it came the Seder, we used to we looked all year round to the Seder, because we had eggs, fish, like all the ingredients that we ate for the Seder. But when it came to the Seder, the mother and the girls were so tired that they fell asleep in the middle of the Agadah.
Because they were working so hard in preparation.
And they didn't eat. You didn't have food like in here. So let's make a break.